This is gonna be the first book of my book club, and I'm starting in December during Vlogmas. But this book is called Get Out of Your Head by Jennie Allen, and it says Stopping the Spiral of Toxic Thoughts. My girl Sydney, I just met her. She recommended this book to me, and I really didn't even know what it was about, but she just said it was about anxiety and stopping toxic thoughts. And honestly, I never heard of this before, but I thought it was like perfect. It was perfect timing. The universe just works like that, because I said I wanted to dive deeper into my faith with God and my relationship and make it just a deeper connection. And this came at the right time, because like I started like my spiritual journey. I started thinking about like how I think and my thoughts and stuff. And it kind of drew me back to God, because that faith in a higher power, like we can say the universe or whatever, but I really truly believe like God is really who works for me. And I understand that religion is purely what you choose to believe in. And I think everybody should have that power to choose what works for them and what they believe has impacted their life in a positive way. And this book is Christian. Even if you're not Christian, if you're atheist, whatever, I still think that I think reading books about any type of religious point of view is very interesting, because it's kind of cool to just see different points of views and different belief systems and understand how people think in different ways that people think. And you don't have to agree with something everybody says. Like, you don't have to agree with everything. People have their own voices, their own opinions, point of views, and they're bound to come out in their books. But that doesn't mean that they have something good to say, because even books like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, I think it's slightly misogynistic. It's definitely a man who grew up in older times, and there's some slightly racist stuff, but he still got some good stuff to say. So before any other black person or somebody who looks like me comes out, I guess that will be fine enough, because I can just take what is good from it and use that in my life. I don't have to accept everything. So enough of that spiel. Let's get into what this says. So on the back, it says, it's all in your head. Are your thoughts holding you captive? I'll never be good enough. Other people will have better lives than I do. God couldn't really love me. Jennie Allen knows what it's like to swirl in a spiral of destructive thoughts, but she also knows we don't have to stay stuck in toxic thinking patterns. As she discovered in her own life, God built a way for us to escape that downward spiral. Freedom comes when we refuse to be victims to our thoughts and realize we have already been equipped with power from God to fight and win the war for our minds. And Get Out of Your Head, Jennie inspires and equips us to transform our emotions, our outlook, and even our circumstances by taking control of our thoughts. Our enemy is determined to get in our heads to make us feel helpless, overwhelmed, and incapable of making a difference for the kingdom of God. But when we submit our minds to Christ, the promises and goodness of God flood our lives in remarkable ways. It starts in your head, and from there, the possibilities are endless. That's the back cover. I'll read y'all the inside cover. I'm on chapter 4 already. But it says, how we think shapes how we live. The greatest spiritual battle of our generation is taking place between our ears. Again and again, we allow false thoughts about who we are to influence our thoughts about who God is and how He is at work in our lives. But we have the opportunity to stop our spinning minds and escape toxic thinking patterns. In Get Out of Your Head, Jennie Allen helps you transform your life by renewing your mind as she explores how what you believe about God shapes how you think of yourself, the negative thought patterns that are keeping you stuck, how to hold space for silence and community and why they matter, the science behind why your thoughts can change your life, and your God-given power to confront and overcome your fears. When you reclaim your thinking patterns from the lies of the enemy, you are set free to set others free. In a very real way, your thoughts can change the world. So join Jennie in the battle and step boldly into freedom. Change is possible. You can live free. She is the author of several books and study guides, including Restless, Anything, and Nothing to Prove. Jennie has a master's degree in biblical studies from Dallas Theological Seminary. She and her husband, Zach, live in Dallas, Texas with their children. Wow, I didn't even read the back cover. I just looked at the picture and like skimmed it. But yeah, she lives in Dallas. That's cool. She mentioned she lived in Texas in the book. But I guess I can give y'all like my first impressions from the first 3 chapters. I guess I highlighted some stuff. I just started annotating. Yara Shahidi inspired me. I watched one of her interviews, and she has this like, I read my books and I annotate them because I always reread them. And why haven't I been doing this? Like, I've done it before, but anyways. And I'll just read y'all some of the highlighted stuff I highlighted. And on the first page, I said, or I highlighted, either the author is an expert on the subject or the subject makes the author desperate enough to spend years finding the answers. I've been thinking about writing. Well, I started writing and I thought that was cool because I'm one of those. So anyways, the other one was, we have bought the lie that we are victims of our thoughts rather than the warriors equipped to fight on the front lines of the greatest battle of our generation, the battle of our minds. Like the battle of the minds is like a great battle of our generation. Is very important, especially with this social media age. There's so many ways that we can be manipulated by our environment, and if we're not able to recognize that they're manipulating the way we think about ourselves and the way we make and what beliefs we have about ourselves, then they can make us do a lot of stuff. Oh, she had some statistics in here from her TED Talks talking about, did you know that research shows that 75 to 98% of mental, physical, and behavioral illnesses come from one's thought life. And when scripture is talking about the heart, it really could be talking about the mind and emotions we experience in our brains. And so I thought that was like really crazy because it's always really cool to see how I think that when multiple books have something in common, it really makes it more concrete. That is really, and it's cool to see different perspectives and ways that it's interpreted. And I thought this was one of those things because I read a lot of Deepak Chopra. I listen to his talks and interviews and whatever, and he always talks about, because he's an actual doctor, like a general practitioner, I think, or something. But he talks about the mind and body connection and how a lot of people always try to address what's going on in their body, the illnesses going on in their body, but they don't address the illnesses that are going in their mind, which are the core cause of the illnesses in their body. That the body illness is just a manifestation of your thoughts and your illnesses in your brain or in your mind. I don't even want to say brain. I feel like your mind, your consciousness isn't necessarily your brain. I feel like without your brain, you'll die, but without your heart, you'll die too. So I feel like it's connected. It's much deeper than a lot of people are thinking. And I don't think I highlighted the other part, but it said we know more about our brain in these last 20 years than we do in the last 2,000 years. And we're just now starting to understand deeper consciousness and where it's stemming from. Like, not even understanding, but starting to have that question arise. At least for me personally, I feel like that's not something commonly taught to the general public. And I think that's the gem about books, because I said this before, but books, people spend their whole lives gathering this information and they've had it put in a book forever. And I don't know where I heard this. I'm pretty sure it was like Napoleon Hill saying a man can die but his ideas last forever. And when you write a book, your ideas last forever. So that's so far what I've gotten. This is just part 1. Part 1 is called All the Thoughts. So the contents, part 1, all the thoughts. Part 2, taking down the enemy of our minds. And part 3, thinking as Jesus thinks. I'm excited to get to part 3, to think as Jesus thinks, because that's always the goal in mind. But yeah, so I'll see y'all later. I'm kind of just going as I read. I read multiple books at a time. Like I think I'm reading like 4 books right now. I'm reading You Get Out of Your Head. I am reading I'm reading another Napoleon Hill book. It's like the one about anxiety and how to, it's all about getting out of your head. It's funny how these all came at the same time. And I'll just put them up on the screen because I really do not be remembering book names like that until like I finish the book. Like it'll be recommended to me by somebody or by somebody that like I watch on YouTube or something. But anyways, guys, I'm just rambling now. I am about to go on my daily walk. I would take Maxie with me, but I don't think he can handle being outside. Maybe that's what he needs. I just won't take him to the dog park so he won't be around other dogs. But it's a beautiful day. Like it's actually sunshine outside. It was really gloomy yesterday. I'm gonna just upload today's video that goes up is supposed to be a law of attraction video. Make sure y'all watch that. I'm pretty sure I already shouted that out at the beginning. And if you're here right now, thank you. I love you. You're the best. You're the best type of subscriber. You're the best type of, you know, supporter, friend, you know, sister, brother, whoever's watching this. And thank you. And if you're not subscribed at this point, go ahead and subscribe because it only gets better from here. So, yeah, that's it. That is it. Wow, that was really good. That was really, really good.